Hi everyone. Today's listen is going to be a little bit different because actually I have heard this piece of music multiple times in my life, although I don't think that I've ever heard it performed by the composer. Happens to be a poet and composer that I have really come to love on this channel, and that is Leonard Cohen. And I feel like I need to feature some more Leonard Cohen just because I quickly gained such an affection for his writing, and so there will probably be more coming up. Well, the song, of course, is Hallelujah. That is a song that I have been familiar with as a song in various forms. I'm trying to think if I've ever played it in a performance setting. I don't think so, but you know, as a musician, it's one of those songs you really can't escape. So,
like Yesterday by the Beatles.
Well, what can I say about that? So, to my knowledge, this is my first time hearing Leonard Cohen perform Hallelujah. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious to see really how he envisions it. I have a few paragraphs to read and then we'll listen. Hallelujah is a song written by Leonard Cohen, originally released on his album Various Positions. A little bit suggestive there, huh? Hallelujah experienced renewed interest following Cohen's death in November 2016 and reappeared on international singles charts, including entering the American Billboard Hot 100 for the first time. Cohen is reputed to have written around 80 to as many as 180 draft verses for Hallelujah, a number affected by the accounting question that he had many versions of the same line. In a writing session in New York's Royalton Hotel, Cohen is famously said to have been reduced to sitting on the floor in his underwear, filling notebooks, banging his head on the floor. You know, it's so interesting. Since I'm familiar with this song, I'm also familiar with the lyrics, at least several versions of the lyrics, and I have noticed over the course of my exposure to the song, various points through the years, that the lyrics that I hear aren't always the same. So this kind of explains why. It's also interesting that he put so much effort and time and attention into writing something which is lyrically not really straightforward. It's hard to make out, and you begin to wonder, am I even supposed to understand what it's actually talking about? And so this idea, filling notebooks, banging his head on the floor, sweating over the lyrics, so to speak, what are they supposed to mean anyway? Dan Geller and Dana Goldfine, creators of the 2022 documentary film Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, a Song, said that Cohen took about 5 years to write the song and reconfigured it numerous times for performances. That sounds like it might be an interesting documentary for me to watch. I'd probably enjoy it. And Vlad has put a little note here at the bottom saying that I will be listening to a live performance in London 2008. This is one of the rare occasions where he has chosen the audio from a live performance rather than a studio recording. For whatever reason, maybe it will become evident, who knows? And that is, of course, later in his life. And most of the pieces I've listened to on this channel by Leonard Cohen have been from earlier in his life. And many of you have said you need to check out his voice as he grew older. So this is maybe the first time I'm listening to his more mature, aged voice. That's going to be interesting to notice how it compares to what the image I have in my mind. So let's just dive in and start listening.
I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to a kitchen chair, and she broke your throne and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Okay. I'm enjoying it immensely. Probably pretty obvious. I don't want to interrupt it. But I'm going to pause because I want to make sure I remember to say this, which is something that has always, should I say, intrigued me, not confused me, but it's one of those. Have you ever had your had your eyes drawn to a pattern, a piece of artwork, a rug, something that just pulls you back to it and pulls you back to it because of the pattern, and because somehow it pulls you back around, and you almost get tired of the fact that you can't pull your eyes away from it. I remember also as a child riding in the car as one or other of my parents was driving me down the freeway. It was the same thing with any bit of text that I saw in the scenery, whether it was a billboard or a highway sign or license plates. Somehow I couldn't get my eyes to not read what was there, and I would get so tired of it. And the third line in the verse, third and fourth line in the first verse, it goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift. Okay. Now, as a musician, each one of those has a technical musical meaning to me. The fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift. Okay. I got that. The thing that brings me back around and around and around and around is that the music that it is set to doesn't follow the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift. It's not aligned to the text. And because of my musical training, where each one of those is so ingrained as meaning something specific, it's one of those sort of loops of pattern where you know, it's a piece of artwork on the wall, it's a rug on the floor, it's something that pulls me back to it simply because I can't get away from it. And I think that's genius, really. It's also kind of annoying. And so this is one of the things that has kept the song stuck in my mind through all the years. I know many of you love this melody. It's an absolutely gorgeous melody. It's a beautiful chord progression. And probably most of you don't have this sort of loop of disagreement going in your mind like I do when I hear that first verse. It always gets to me. And I just thought I'd share that because it's just one of those funny things about being a musician and listening to a song that quotes musical theoretical terminology.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Now, maybe there's a God above. As for me, all I ever from love is how to shoot at someone who outdrew you. But it's not a cry that you hear tonight. It's not some pilgrim who claims to have seen the light. No, it's a cold and it's a very broken hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And actually what I'm going to do, because I am enjoying it so much and I really don't want to keep interrupting it, I'm going to listen all the way through. And then we'll talk about the lyrics. We might even go back through parts of it, because to me, the lyrics are worth talking about, even though I'm aware that it's kind of a lost cause to decide and determine exactly what was meant. In fact, I seem to remember years ago I read something that Leonard Cohen said. I don't remember, but it was something about his criticizing or commenting on people's efforts to decode the lyrics, and something about they're not meant to be decoded. Somehow that is stuck in my mind. Back at one point I read something about that years ago. So but I do want to talk about the lyrics, because I think that they do have things to express which are worthy of notice. And of course, we'll talk about the music. But let's just enjoy this performance, because to me, it is incredibly rich and beautiful.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
The crowd in the background a little bit. Nice bit of finger work there. Comes the chorus. Nice scale.
Oh, people, I've been here before. I know this room, and I've walked this floor. You see, I used to live alone before I knew you. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch. But listen, love is not some kind of victory march. No, it's a cold and it's a very lonely hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
The expressive qualities in his voice are just incredible.
There was a time you let me know what's really going on below. But now you never even show it to me, do you? I remember when I moved in you, and the holy dove, she was moving too, and every single breath that we drew was hallelujah, hallelujah.
This mandolin is just so perfect for it.
Hallelujah.
So some saxophone mixed in. And of course the female chorus behind as well.
I've done my best, I know it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I learned to touch. I've told the truth, I didn't come here to London just to fool you.
To London. Nice little insertion there.
Even though it all went wrong, I'll stand right here before the Lord of Song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Gorgeous. Utterly gorgeous. And, all right, let's talk about his voice first. The reason I was a bit curious about his voice is because so many of you have said that, well, I won't say so many of you, several of you have said, and urged me to listen to his later singing and commented on how his voice matured. And somehow I had a different image of it because many of you have used the term gravelly. To me, his voice is not gravelly. To me, gravelly means something different. And to me, his voice is incredibly lyrical and melodic and richly colored. It does have a depth to it. It's pitched quite low, at the same time a very gentle, sort of soothing quality. But to me, it doesn't have what I would associate with the term gravelly. That's okay if that's what the sort of definition that makes sense to you. Go right ahead. I have nothing against it. But I was almost afraid to listen to his later performances because you used that term as a descriptor, and my idea of a gravelly voice is not a beautiful voice. And I so enjoyed the stuff that I listened to earlier. Well, here I am, immensely enjoying this performance from later in his life, and I still find his voice and his expressive qualities incredible and really riveting. You know, it holds my attention. He is the poet, and but he's more than just the poet. He is the, should I say, I don't know if this makes sense, the bard. Now let me go back because I mentioned it earlier, and let me go back to this first verse and the musical sequence of it, the chords and the melody, because I want you to understand, if possible, why it is that it has this attraction in the patterning and the lyrics for me. So I'm going to talk a bit about chords. I'm going to keep it simple. So even if you're not a musician, you should be able to follow along more or less. Okay. So we have, let's just listen to this first verse and get it fresh in our ears, the chords and everything. I'll be naming the chords as we go. So
I've heard there was the secret chord
that's A minor,
David played and it pleased the Lord.
A,
But you don't
F,
really care for music,
G,
do you?
C. Okay, verse 9.
It goes like
C,
this: the fourth, the
F,
fifth, the minor fall,
A minor,
the major lift, the baffled king composing
That is the line. That is the line that is so, as I said, did I say genius? I think I said genius. Now I want to come back to the first verse here where I was talking about this pattern that kind of pulls me around and around to it simply because it's the terminology along with what's happening in the music and creates this sort of constant pull back. So here are the lyrics. It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift. And what do I think of when I read those lyrics? Well, the fourth could be, I think of it melodically. If we speak of a fourth, we're talking about a melodic fourth. 4 notes up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bum, bum. There's a fourth. Here's a fifth. The minor fall, okay, descending from the fifth down a minor interval. That would take us to E. Bum, bum. Then the major lift, that would take us back up to G sharp. Okay, so when I hear this, I hear terminology that is primarily melodic in it, in the way it's expressed. However, that is not what the melody does there, is it? It's a constant rising line. It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Nothing in the melody itself follows the technical definitions that we're finding in the lyrics themselves. But if we follow the harmonies, the chords underneath, actually, it's there. And so it goes like this. That's our C chord. The fourth is the 4 chord in the scale. The fifth, that's the G. The minor fall, there is no such thing as a minor fall in a chord, but there is a minor chord, which is A minor, so we can forgive him for his poetic liberties. The major lift then takes us to G major, and then the baffled king, even more major, we go to the E major, composing hallelujah. And so this is what keeps me coming round and round, is because lyrically, I'm hearing musical definitions which primarily refer to melodic contour. But the melody doesn't do that. Instead, if you just reinterpret these lyrics to be speaking in harmonic language, not the fourth as an interval, but the 4 chord, not a minor fall as a place to travel melodically downwards, but rather a minor chord that shifts, kind of drops down, we could say, then we can find an actual charting out of what he's saying technically, musically. And that is why it keeps me coming back to it, because, as I said, it's genius. It is enough. It's just veiled enough that we're not feeling like we're just in elementary school learning the definitions of the intervals. Instead, it's this wonderful melodic expression of what is happening harmonically. Let's try playing along with this, because it's kind of fun and really is lovely. A lovely sequence.
I've heard there was the secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord.
A minor.
But you don't
F.
really care for music, do you?
Here it comes.
It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift,
the major lift,
the baffled king,
composing
hallelujah.
Let's do that bit again, because it's just so much fun.
Fourth, the fifth, really care for music,
Here is this line.
It goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah.
And then here comes the chorus.
Hallelujah.
Isn't it lovely? Isn't it beautiful? And, you know, it's one of those pieces that just makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. It does. Now, I want to talk about the lyrics. I promised to talk about the lyrics, and so we're going to do that now. Well, with Leonard Cohen, you can't not talk about the lyrics. And as I've been introduced to some of his other poetic writings, pieces of music on this channel, I have begun to understand a bit more about his approach and his way of expressing and kind of challenging us too. And this piece is the same. It's so steeped, it's drenched in religious references. David, King David, it pleased the Lord. Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. Remember the biblical story of David playing his harp for King Saul, right? But you don't really care for music, do you? Oh wow, suddenly even David's secret chord, which not only pleased the Lord but soothed King Saul, doesn't have an impact on you, right? We could go down that road, and there are so many little directions we could take with each line of music. That's one of the wonderful things about this, is that it doesn't allow us to lock in a single meaning. It doesn't allow us to think in terms of black and white. Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Okay, now we're still back in the era of King David. This is King David with Bathsheba and their affair, we could say. Her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. And then it actually kind of takes a little bit of a turn, because suddenly there's this reference to she cut your hair, which is actually not a King David story. It's the story of Samson and Delilah. So there's all this biblical storytelling reference, cross-reference, and we understand that we're not meant to take this as literal biblical teachings or anything like that, religious teachings. You say I took the name in vain. I don't even know the name. But if I did, well, really, what's it to you? There's a blaze of light in every word. And so as I'm reading the first half of these verses, and actually in this performance, I heard some verses which aren't written in my text here, which is okay, because what did he write? So many different versions of it. And actually, one of those verses I actually wanted to revisit. Maybe I'll put my headphones back on for a second and we'll revisit that, because I wanted to talk about that too. It's the third verse that I heard him sing. Is it somewhere here, maybe?
Now, maybe there's a God above.
Maybe there's a God
As for
above.
me,
As for me,
all I ever learned from love,
all I ever learned from
how
love
to shoot at someone
is how to shoot at
outdrew
someone who outdrew you.
But it's not a cry
But it's
that
not
you
a
hear
cry.
tonight. It's not some
hear tonight.
pilgrim who claims to have seen the light.
It's
no,
not some pilgrim
it's a
who
cold
claims to
and
see
it's
the
a
light.
very broken.
No, it's a cold and very broken
hallelujah.
hallelujah. And of course, this word hallelujah is so steeped in religious tradition and storytelling as well. And yet this entire song is hallelujah. Well, as we progress through the music, we start to feel that this really isn't about biblical stories, is it? There is another element which comes in, which is drawing from these stories, and that is the romantic, the sexual relationship, the complexities of those relationships, and the conflicts, the struggles, the beauties. And I think that's his message. And even if you don't take it, if you take it even more broadly, and try to move away from the sexual elements, sensual elements, you can try to do that too, but still the overall idea is what I hear in this verse. And that is that we are imperfect, and yet life is so beautiful. The experience of lived life, no matter how imperfect. And there's this, I guess one of the verses also later was something about love is not, what is it? Love is not to rule or conquer. It was, I just heard it once here, so I'm a little bit rough on the, I'm trying to remember. But the idea that within ourselves, we can be cold and broken and distant. We can be all of ourselves, confused, everything that we are. We're not perfect. We're not always perfectly romantic. We're not always perfectly open. We're not all of these things. But still, to be human is a beautiful thing. In fact, to be human and to have connections with other people who are also human brings an almost religious experience. It's a sacredness to the experience of being human and interacting as human beings. To me, that's really what I get out of the lyrics in a broad sense. And there are so many other beautiful things which I find in these lyrics. We can also go towards the darker side of things as well, but I would love to hear, because I know this is a very popular song, and I've never had the opportunity to sit down and talk to people who love it for the sake of the lyrics. Most often they say, oh, it's such a beautiful melody and I just love to listen to it and lose myself in it. I want to hear, if you are paying attention to the lyrics, what do you get out of them? I would love to have that discussion here on this channel, on this piece of music. And of course, it's going to have somewhat to do with which of the verses and which versions of the verses are we listening to, since it went under so many revisions. But I think it would be a beautiful discussion to have. I'm looking forward to your comments, what you have to say, and I'll see you soon.